Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
The great author of Russian writing, Leo Tolstoy, said this, and it makes a lot of sense. Listen, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Wednesday. Come on, call in. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours on a beautiful morning on this Wednesday, March the 4th. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell. Wheels is over at the station. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires during their big spring tire sale. And don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good this morning, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You're very welcome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you much. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast brought to everybody by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Right there, smack dab on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. They've got the rental of the best tools and equipment anywhere for you, for both long and short term, for any construction project, whatever project you've got. You stop in and see them today. Not sure what you need? Give them a call. 678-3122 K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Almost feels like spring. Here's a look at your weather forecast, and we are on a warming trend as we make our way through the rest of the week. Maybe some precipitation for this weekend. We are expecting sunny skies for today, high of 56. It is going to be a little bit breezy. Winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 55 tonight. Mostly clear skies with a low of 31. Winds dying down just a little bit for tomorrow. Sunny skies, high of 60. For Thursday night, mostly clear, low of about 36. For Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 63. By Saturday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers in the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 56. Let's look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Great forecast, but please, let's tone down the wind a little bit. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew. Like I said, they've got all the rental tools and equipment you need. And by the way, if you're not sure, like I said a moment ago, what you need, don't sit there and worry about it. Just give them a call. They've got the answers. 678-3122 on the Burley-Paul Highway. K&R Rental. Really nice people. When you use the term nice people, you've also got to talk about our friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And that number to remember and call, 678-0459. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and all the experience, all the nice people, all the knowledgeable people, and they've been serving you for almost 7 decades. Wow. 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Number to call again, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I wanna get into the circus that came to town across the United States yesterday, and it was called the Democratic primaries. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Oberlin in Burley. Hello, Thomas and Michelle and the rest of the folks over there. Wonderful, wonderful people serving you with great, great food, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. All the desserts, and, of course, the Ann's favorite for breakfast, of course, those strawberry crepes. Oh, good. And, of course, it's the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. We really enjoy being there, and I think you better take the time to go on in. Enjoy the great food and the super service at America's Diner, and that's Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
About the Democratic opponents, I guess you would call them, candidates that they're running. I don't watch the debate. I didn't watch the debate. I don't have time to watch it. I try and listen to what I can on Breitbart on my XM radio, but the thing that gets me is what they have as candidates. They don't have anything. But at the same side of things, you should never underestimate your opponent at any given time. And it worries me with Bernie Sanders if he decides or he gets the nominee and he becomes president. Not only are we in trouble, we're in big trouble, but then if we go with Biden, if they go with Biden and he gets elected, who's really going to run the country? I don't think it'd be Joe. Somebody's going to be telling him what to do.
Well, somebody has to tell him.
We can't take for granted that they're idiots. We have to really be diligent.
Well, Riley, somebody's going to have to tell Biden where he's at. I mean, he can't even remember where he's at. And then, of course, yesterday being Super Tuesday with all the states that were having.
Thursday?
Pardon?
From Joe Biden said it was going to be Super Thursday.
Well, Joe Biden was lost, and yesterday was Super Tuesday, and I get your little pun there, but I got to admit that Lazarus came out of the grave yesterday, and Lazarus being Biden, and now seems to be in the lead and will take the lead, very possibly away from Bernie Sanders for the nomination. I think Bernie is going to be a flame that has flickered out before the end of this month of March.
I hope so. We don't need the communists. We don't need socialism. We don't need any of that. The deal with Joe Biden is when these I don't know all their names right off the top of my head, but they quit running, backing Biden, and it seems like a whole lot of people in the last 4 or 5 days are starting to back Joe Biden, and Joe doesn't even know, like you say, he don't know where he's at half the time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Talking about it reminds me of somebody with dementia or severe brain injury that just can't quite grasp reality.
Well, I appreciate your comments.
Who's going to be the puppeteer?
Yeah. There's so much that is going on. It's really kind of an enveloping situation to where you want to follow it all the time. Riley, I appreciate your call to kick things off this morning. We're going to talk about that. Thank you so much.
I'd like to call you after the show sometime, but I forgot your number, and there's some things I'd like to visit with you about.
All right, well, somehow we'll get that number to you, but I appreciate it. Thanks. God bless you, young man. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. You know, Riley brought up some really good things about Biden, of course, calling it prior to the election or the voting yesterday in the primaries. You know, wait till Super Thursday, and he meant to say Super Tuesday, which was yesterday. But let's just call it like it is. Biden did come back and won some very big votes and big states in the primaries. Bernie the commie won California, which was no surprise because those people out there are in a wacko zone. And Bernie did win his home state of Vermont. That's not a surprise. But he lost Massachusetts to Biden, And Elizabeth Warren, I think, will be singing the famous Swan song within the next day or so, and she did not win her home state. Now, Bloomberg, let's talk about Michael Bloomberg, Mr. Moneybags, with $100 bills dripping out of his pockets. He won American Samoa. Yeah, American Samoa. 100 and some odd votes in their caucus situation in American Samoa. Okay, he spent so far on advertising over $600 million in advertisements promoting him to be the president. And all he got from his efforts was the caucus goers saying they wanted Mike Bloomberg from American Samoa, and their numbers were just over 100 people. Bye, Mikey. I think he's gone. And I believe that either today or tomorrow we're going to hear from the Bloomberg camp, and they're going to say, I think we're throwing in the towel and we're going home, even though next week there are 6 more primaries next week. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, Donald Trump has got to be sitting back on the sidelines, and from some of his tweets, he's amused, as we all should be, as to what's going on with this absolutely Looney Tunes cartoon called the Democratic Party, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Dino Septic Service, don't forget septic tank pumping and backhoe services, sewer and sink drain lines clean, liquid waste removal, and, you know, they do such a great job for you doing the job that you don't want to do. Absolutely. And they've expanded their business to serve more people in the area. They are good. So get a hold of them today. Dino Septic Service at 436-6526 or 678-1638. They'll pull in the yard with that big truck that says, smells cargo on the way to serve you. Dino's Septic Service. You get a hold of them right now. You know, even last night, Joe Biden up on stage to have a rah-rah with his home team about his good day. And I will give the devil his dues. He did have a good day yesterday on Super Tuesday. And he went to introduce his wife and his sister, and poor Joe got him mixed up. Yeah, here's my sister. Well, that turned out that his wife was standing there. And here's my wife, and that turned out to be Joe's sister. I mean, it was kind of mass confusion there for a few minutes. Poor Joe. And then the animal rights protesters jumped up on stage. I don't know if you saw this, but it was quickly taken care of. Now, I've got to give credit again where credit is due. And the people that are managing the Biden campaign were very quick to stifle and stop these crazies from animal rights activism. They jumped up on stage. One person was escorted off the stage, but another was literally tackled, which is a good thing. And the woman that did the tackling from Biden's administration campaign was Simone Sanders, and she's a campaign advisor. She saw the other animal rights activists yelling, "Let dairy die! Let dairy die!" They were all up there chanting and trying to take over the entire Biden process. And she just literally, like a linebacker, scrambled up the steps and tackled this buffoon that represents animal rights activism. And it drew praise from a lot of viewers regarding her agility and tackling form. And when asked about what happened up on stage, Simone Sanders said, "Oh, darn, I broke a nail." But these protesters, these stupid protesters in regards to animal rights, I mean, it was absolutely crazy. And kudos, and I'm saying this, kudos to Simone Sanders with the Biden campaign for literally tackling and knocking off the stage onto the floor one of these kooks and crazies with animal rights activism. Great. Good move. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about almost $700 million put into a campaign that never even got untethered from the docks and set to sail? I'm talking about Bloomberg. Almost $700 million. $700 million for a campaign that didn't do anything but get maybe a little over 100 caucus goers in American Samoa. Woo! Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Taking interest, folks. And here's the thing that all of us need to remember. We cannot sit back and rest on the laurels of, it's going to be a slam dunk, Donald Trump's going to win in the fall. We can't do that. No. We've all got to remember to go to the polls, no excuses, and vote. Vote come November. This is a very, very critical election, whether it's Biden, whether it's Bernie, or whomever. We've got to remember the Democrats, their sole mantra is to take control of everything, and transition and change America, not for the better. And so I urge you to remember to go to the polls in November, and I'm really going to be harping on this. Don't forget the great big 25th annual bull sale put on by the Sheridan Ranch. Cordell and Patty Sheridan is coming up this Saturday, March 7th, starting at 1 p.m. at the Burley Auction Yard. Oh, let me tell you, Merv May's going to take care of all the auctioneering. Great voice, great chant, and it's going to be a ripping good bull sale. One of the best of the West, with the most outstanding offerings of yearling and coming 2-year-old Gelbvieh, Angus, and Balancer bulls. And don't forget, too, free delivery up to 300 miles. Cowmen. Don't forget, this is really a ripping good sale, and there's going to be lunch provided at noon. Sheridan Ranch, Cordell and Patty Sheridan with their 25th annual bull sale this coming Saturday, March 7th, starting at 1 p.m. at the Burley Sale Yard. All right, calls are welcome. Where are you this morning? Come on, call in. Wake up time. Let's go. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This morning, here's something I want you to check on for me. I have been an advocate ever since I heard about Barbara Ehart's bill, and I absolutely back her in her stating that it's time to protect girls' sports. And when I say protect women's sports in Idaho, I mean that, from the elementary school ages through high school and into college. From trans men posing as women trying to get involved in their sports. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's insane to think about a merging of trans men getting involved in girls' sports. And she wrote a very interesting op-ed this morning, she being Representative Barbara Ehart, pardon me. And I want you to read that this morning. She brought out some absolutely great points for consideration. Number one, if we allow boys or men to play girls or women's sports, we would be taking those opportunities away, meaning away from girls. This is happening. It's not some pie in the sky that the left wants you to think, oh, well, nothing's going on. Yes, it is. In states like Connecticut, there are already lawsuits from girls that have been discriminated against because of trans men involvement, and these girls have lost scholarships and opportunities. This has to stop, and it's got to stop now, and we're going to do that stopping right here in the state of Idaho. And then she said, if boys competed against girls, our young women would become spectators in their own sports. That's exactly what's happening on some of the eastern states, again, like Connecticut, because these girls are basically forced out of opportunities to compete on certain teams, and they're losing again the scholarship opportunities. And then she goes on in this op-ed, and I want you to read it on your own so you can understand this, and she says that it would be unfair, and it's why we separate sports into boys and girls categories. It's not to exclude anyone. It's to make sure there's a place for everyone. How true. And then she says, I want to make sure that girls in this state don't lose their roster spot to a young man. And that's exactly the way it should be. But then right under that op-ed this morning in the Times News, wonderful newspaper, was a letter from the so-called Idaho chapter of American College of Physicians. And some of the things they said in this letter that was written by a Leslie Box don't make a lot of sense, as she criticized this bill by Barbara Ehart, and she said, this bill, as currently stated, could subject transgender youth to specialized testing, monitoring, and other medical exams that are not required of other athletes. Well, that's one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard, because other athletes are not posing as another gender. They're either competing as males or females. And so to say that other medical exams that are not required of other athletes, absolutely not. Because males are competing against males, females against females. And then they say, identifying and evaluating such youth could result in increased discrimination, isolation, and have adverse mental health consequences. Then I suggest the following, that we offer and prepare to give mental health exams and anything that could be a mental health care opportunity and assistance for those that don't really know what they are, who they are, or what team they should play on. Don't discriminate against the women involved in women's sports. Plain and simple. I will not change my attitude. Calls are welcome, 436-22. Come on, folks, chime in. This is your show, and I want to hear what you have to say. While I'm waiting for your calls, and don't be timid. I appreciate it. Call in. Barry Equipment and Rental. Let's talk about 3 locations that they have to serve you. First of all, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. When it comes to the lifting and the digging and the leveling and the pushing and the carrying and the laying sod, you need equipment that's going to get the job done. They have all that equipment. They've got all the Doosan equipment. They've got all the Bobcat equipment. They've got them in all various shapes and sizes. And I urge you to stop in and check out their financing programs for purchase and their lease programs. Absolutely serving you. They got a brand new inventory, and they're ready to serve you this year at Barry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see them today. All right, again, it's your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A little bit on the coronavirus this morning. And when I say a little bit, I'm kind of making up my mind that I think we can kind of beat this horse every day, and I don't think we should. I think we should look at this thing as health officials are in charge. Health officials know what they're doing. Health officials are sharing information as to what we can do to minimize the effect or possible effect on us and our families. I think they are doing a good job. I think this administration is doing a good job. The coronavirus now in our United States has, very unfortunately and very sadly, 9 people have died. And I believe all of that 9 number have been in one of our neighboring states of Washington State. And I believe right now there are over 100. I'm not going to say the exact number because it has fluctuated and changed. Over 110 cases of known coronavirus in the United States. Now, all that being said, the flu, as we've stated many times in the past, has on almost every year many, many thousands of deaths attributed to the flu. So, should you be scared? Should you be concerned? I think concerned over scared. I think that we need to look at things on a case-by-case basis. If you're not feeling well, stay home. If you have symptoms that you're concerned about, call a health professional. But don't go out and sit in a doctor's waiting room someplace and with the possibility of infecting others or hurting others. And wash your hands. Take the necessary precautions. But as far as running and setting your hair on fire and saying the end of the world is near, I don't think that we're anywhere close to that kind of a scare tactic from the coronavirus. So, that being said, I'd like to hear, are you really concerned about it? I asked this question the other day on the air. Are you really that concerned about it? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes.
We talked a little bit yesterday about this transgender stuff in the girls' sports, and I still feel the same way. Nobody's going to change my mind. Girls need to do girls' sports. Boys need to do boys' sports, and everybody else needs to stay the heck out of it.
Let me ask you, for a very, very small minority number of those that want to identify as trans men posing as women, why should an entire effort of girls' sports and Title IX money, etc., for equality be subjected to just being fragmented and thrown away just for a very small minority?
You know, I don't know. I don't understand these people not standing up for these young women who work their tails off to get their awards, their scholarships, their chance in life. What the heck? I don't understand. I don't understand what people are thinking. Well, I guess they're not. Maybe that's the point.
Donna, you know as well as I do that when Title IX money came into effect to provide a more a more equal and level playing field, if you will, for girls' sports, it provided more of an opportunity. It provided more of a chance. It provided better facilities. It provided more money for various teams. Why in the world today? It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why would you take a girls' basketball team and say, here's the coach. Coach says, everybody gather around. Okay, we're going to let Bernie and Fred play on our team. That's insane.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the coaches need to stand up and, make their voices heard, too. I think they're trying to be politically correct and not, rock the boat. Get out there and rock the boat for your team, for your girls.
Well, and for a physician to write a letter to the Times News and say, this bill, I'm reading from the letter again, and I want to get your reaction to it. This bill, as currently stated, could subject transgender youth to specialized testing, monitoring, and other medical exams that are not required of other athletes. Well, that's obvious, and that statement is so stupid because men play on men's team and girls play on girls' teams.
Well, precisely. They weren't using their brain when whoever wrote that letter. Of course, they're going to be subjected to different exams and tests. As well they should, because they shouldn't be there in the first place.
I remember, and I said this yesterday, and I looked yesterday, and I cannot find it. I filed it away someplace regarding a 6'8" or 6'9" male with a full beard that was playing on a women's college basketball team. This is, honest to goodness, every girl should walk off the floor, walk off the team, turn their uniforms in and tell the college, not until you clean this mess up, we're not going to play anymore.
Oh, I totally agree. The girls need to start standing up for themselves, too. I know a few of them have, but I just don't understand. Like I said yesterday, there's two genders. There's male and female. And
why are we catering to the people that don't know what they are?
Well, I don't know. There's another question. There's that trans, whatever it is, that freak of nature in prison wanting us to pay for his operation. I say BS.
Well,
if they want to be a freak of nature, let them do it on their own dime.
Yeah, but you know something, Donna, just it's really coming clear to me that with some of these sob and crying and tearful-filled letters of, oh, these poor trans men that are posing as girls, why, we can't stop them from playing on girls' teams, why, that just isn't right. Wait a minute. Discrimination? We're talking about utter discrimination against girls and also men's sports. Look at how this thing is going to evolve into a total mess. Locker rooms, records are going to be thrown down the drain. It doesn't mean anything. Scholarships that are provided for girls are going to go by the wayside because here's some guy getting it in place of a girl. I mean, the list goes on and on of the insanity of doing this, and it's about time that America, in general, started restoring a moral value of what's right and wrong.
Yep, we talked about that yesterday, too. You know, this is, last time I looked, this was the land of the free and the home of the brave. But these trans, whatever, I'm sorry, to me they're freaks of nature. They're just trying to get something for nothing. Stand up, be accounted for, and be what God created you.
Well, I would say this, and I said it just a moment ago, and I'll repeat. We're talking about a very, very small, minuscule number of people that definitely need, and I'm going to emphasize this next point, definitely need mental health care and assistance, but they should never be allowed to take away from women's athletics.
I'm right there with you.
Appreciate your call. You had the nerve and the backbone to call, and thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know, I've never been accused of being politically correct, and I don't need, at this age, I don't need to start now.
Amen to you. Thank you, Donna. God bless you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice lady right there, and a good friend. Really appreciate her. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Folks, these are issues. I'm not going to run away from them on this program. I'm not going to run and hide and, oh, well, we can't talk about that. Somebody might be offended, or somebody might really come back and be mad or something. We're going to talk about them and lay the facts on the table. Don't forget, every Monday at 10:30. No, Zeb, that's not right. Every Monday at 8:30, we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. What a bakery. What a restaurant. Sophie's Chatterbox, and you might be one of the lucky winners. Stay tuned next Monday at 8:30. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You just pulled a Joe.
You know what I did? I gaffed.
I couldn't help myself.
But you know, I don't do it every day.
I know. Introducing his wife and his sister and backwards, yeah. So, anyway, on this boys and girls sports, it's wrong. It's just basically wrong. And I've read that if you have $1 for every gender, you'll have $2 and a whole bunch of counterfeits.
Yeah. I mean, what else can I add to that? This bill that was put together by Representative Barbara Ehart is absolutely spot on. There has been criticism of her saying, well, she didn't need to write that bill because we don't have a problem here in Idaho. But the word that you can attach after that is yet.
Yet. Exactly. That movement is coming across the nation, and it's going to schools, and I am with you. If I was on, say I was a female, and I was on a female basketball team or any female team, and here comes a guy, like even a female volleyball team, here comes a guy, because I identify as a female, I want to play on that team. If I'm like you, if I was those girls, I'd say, There you go. Let him play. Let him be your guy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think all girls, all parents of girls, everybody that's got any moral value and equations of what's right and wrong should stand up and support not only Barbara Ehart here in the state of Idaho, but the concept of returning to a normalcy of what gender really is.
Exactly. And these people that think it's okay for a guy who identifies as a girl to go into a girl's locker room and change, they need to be mentally evaluated.
You know,
that is so wrong. I couldn't tell you how mad and how many people it would take to hold me back if I find out that there's boys in my granddaughter's locker room. I mean, God help me to restrain myself, because I have no idea what I would do.
Well, this is what I'm saying for a long time on this program. Caller number 2, I'll be right there with you. Stand by. That I say at the end of the program, the way things are or the way things ought to be, well, we need to go back to a restoration of moral value and ethical values in this country that have been trashed, thrown on the floor, and stepped on, and I'm fed up with it.
Yes, and there's a sign down here in Hayburn as you're going towards Rupert. A big billboard sits up there. If you need guidance, read a Bible.
Amen. Amen. You know, Doug, I want everybody to know that Doug and I are kind of working together a little bit to promote everybody going to the senior centers and support the senior centers, and we're going to be doing a lot more in the future for them. I didn't want to take your thunder away, but I just want to throw that in.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to contacting a lot of the senior center directors to find out what they have going on, so we can get everybody together and get everybody on the same page, that find out what works in their area and what doesn't work.
Amen.
So the senior centers can work together instead of being like, high school rivals and friends, but against each other.
Absolutely. Doug, I got another call I got to run. Thank you for chiming in. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Caller, good morning. Thank you. I'm sorry we had you wait.
Not a problem. I just want to say 2 things. First of all, we love the senior center. We are they. And another thought, facetiously, I want you to remember I'm speaking facetiously, for those who want to play on the opposite sex's team, let them have their own team. The trans men and the trans women can get their own team and leave everybody else, leave the straights alone.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having the nerve to call in and voice your opinion. I'm so glad you did, and I mean that. Thank you very much. Nice lady. Thank you very much. That's the thing, folks. Speak up, speak out, and let your voices and opinions be known. We are being taken over by a very sinister, evil left where anything goes. There is no moral value. There is nothing as far as black and white, right or wrong, and we'd better start standing up. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I'm going to correct somebody that said we don't have a problem here yet, because we do. So, Caldwell had 2 of them on their team last year.
Yep.
Well, that's a problem here.
No, but wait a minute. The reason it was said as of yet is that's what the left wants everybody to think. We don't have a problem here yet. Well, that's why Barbara introduced this bill to stop the yet and the future of what is happening, like in Caldwell and other places.
Right. Yeah, but it's already here.
Yep.
And so that one kind of got under my skin a little.
I don't blame you for letting it get under your skin, because I think the naivete of people saying, oh, well, it isn't going to happen here in conservative southern Idaho. Yes, it is. And that's why I say that I salute Ehart on her bill, and I salute legislators like Bedke and Wood and Clow and Hartkin and Kaufman and Likely and others that voted to stop this transgender attitude of really destroying women's sports.
Right. And I feel sorry for that Caldwell team. I mean, just like you've talked about earlier today, what they had to go through And then look at the girl, whoever the girl is, that didn't get a start and didn't get a play because a boy was playing in her place.
Yeah. Well, relate to this to also the case that's going before the court right now. 3 cases back in Connecticut, as a matter of fact, where in every case the girls that have filed suit and litigation were robbed of the opportunity to have scholarships to go on to college, and that has got to stop.
Yeah. Plus, they're losing their records, like was mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Sir, I am so glad you called. I appreciate that, and thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Caller, I've got a favor to ask. If you can just hang with me about 60 seconds, I've got to get a weather forecast on, and I'll be right with you. Do not hang up, please. I want to talk real quickly about Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and they are the best for your hearing health. Believe me, if you've noticed a diminishment in your hearing, please don't put it off. Make an appointment for a hearing screening, 312-0957. I'll say it again, 312-0957. They are the best. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Almost feels like spring. Here's a look at your weather forecast, and we are on a warming trend as we make our way through the rest of the week. Maybe some precipitation for this weekend. We are expecting sunny skies for today, high of 56. It is going to be a little bit breezy. Winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 55 tonight. Mostly clear skies with a low of 31. Winds dying down just a little bit for tomorrow. Sunny skies, high of 60. For Thursday night, mostly clear, low of about 36. For Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 63. By Saturday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers in the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 56. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7 to 8.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by our dear, dear friends over at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they know that hearing loss affects every person differently, and they have all the diagnostic capabilities of helping you. Call for an appointment today at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, good morning. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zed. We're probably going to be having this discussion for years in the future. And the sad thing is we need to get it cleared up right now and say, whatever the deal is on your birth certificate, that's what you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This lunacy of saying on driver's licenses and everything else that they can just kind of pick a gender and be what they want. You know, we've lost sight of the fact of anything for security. You know, imagine, well, here's a guy that says he's a girl. He gets on an airplane and does this, that, or the other. I mean, we are losing any and all sense of civilization because of these weirdos and crackpots, and it's got to stop.
Well, and I hope that we get leadership in our country continuously that do not bend to the crazy idiots, and they're idiots, and they're confused, and they don't know it, but I think they do. And so they're just messing up our country, and this is such a blessed country. We can't turn it down.
You know, Chris, and here's what's going to happen. You take some of the op-ed people at the Times News and others of very liberal persuasions. They will write about our conversations on the radio. They will come after me with emails. They'll come after me with phone calls and everything. None of these people have the courage, the backbone, or another word I can't use on the air, to call me on the air and be on the program. They're all backstabbers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't take the Times News anymore, and I don't miss it. And I think a lot of people in Magic Valley ought to just not take it.
Chris, it's so refreshing to hear from you when you call. God bless you on a sunny morning. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, one little quick note on that statement about what's on their birth certificate. There are states now that are allowing them to put X instead of a male or female, so the kids can choose later.
Okay, a guy goes in and robs a bank. okay, and runs out of the bank, goes into the alleyway, grabs a suitcase, puts on women's clothing, and then gets in an automobile and driving around. The police have a suspecting idea that it may be the car, the getaway car. They pull the guy over, and he's dressed as a woman, shows the license, and there's an X. I mean, this is a mess.
It is. It really is. And like it says in the book of Revelations, what's right is wrong, and what's wrong will be right.
Yeah. There is, I don't know how we can say this any plainer, and maybe we should send a elongated note to the Times News and others in our society that can't understand. God created two genders, male and female. There is nothing else that science has ever proved that are different than just male and female.
Exactly. Send them a biology book from when biology was taught on, back when the truth was being put out, like in the 50s and the 40s when it's shown, male biology, female biology. Yep, this is what it is.
Yeah, but Doug, here's another point. The Democratic Party, and I'm really pointing my finger at them because they have made this statement. The Democrats are screaming that by having a banning of saying no, if you're a transgender man posing as female, you cannot compete. They're saying that is sex-based discrimination. That's the most dumb, the most ludicrous thing the Democrats could say, because the sex-based discrimination is against the women that are trying to participate on women's teams.
Exactly. That's exactly it. If the left believe that, there's no genders, basically, you can choose your gender, then why do they fight so hard for women's rights?
There you go. There you go. Doug, I'm so glad you called back. Thank you. I'm going to take another call. We're getting close to the end of the hour. Thank you so much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. There's another issue that people need to be aware of with this I don't know what gender I am mess. Because medically, men and women are treated differently because there are medically and physically different things that need to be treated. And if you go in and say that you're a man and you're a woman, or you're a woman and you say you're a man, things are handled totally differently. Men's heartbeats are different. Things are in different places. They can't keep doing this. Somebody's going to get seriously injured, or they will die because of doing that. And then the medical profession is the one that's going to take the rap for it. And then our insurance rates are going to go up even higher than what they are because of idiots out there.
Yeah, but Sharon, one simple question for this whole mess. Why are we catering to stupidity?
Yeah, good question. And we shouldn't be. While I was on the air, that was one of the things I said about the mayor from Indiana that was running for president.
Yeah.
He was campaigning in elementary school.
Yeah.
What the heck is he doing there? There is no vote for him in an elementary school. That is wrong. This is wrong.
Well, it is, and we've got to stand up. And
the recruiting.
Absolutely. That's the word right there, recruiting for a very, very sleazy atmosphere and trying to destroy the male and the female genders in this world.
Yeah, if you want to terminate human life, continue with that line of perpetuation.
Absolutely.
It doesn't perpetuate.
Absolutely.
It's an impossibility.
Well, you hold on to that steering wheel. Don't you run in the barrel pit right now. I can tell you're mad. You just stay cool. See you later.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you. Caller, real quick. I've only got a couple of minutes left. Go.
I'll tell you what these people think. These people, liberals, communists, socialists, sexualists, environmentalists, they all think that they're going to take over and win, and America will be what they want it to be. America will be destroyed, or it would be whatever they think it should be. They don't have any sense of the consequences of their actions. They don't care. All that matters is immediacy. And so, yeah, in their heart and soul, they must believe that they will win. That eventually, us old, tired white men who literally keep this country running, whether or not we want believe it or not, it's true. And not most of us are pretty decent folks. I'm not including myself here. But you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, and I can jump in. Let me jump in here for a minute. The whole thing can be summed up as we've got away from God. We've got away from a moral system in this country. We've got away from what's right and wrong. It's very simple. We've got away from what is right and wrong and tried and true, and we're letting minorities come in and destroy our society. I can't be any more plain than that.
Well, it's just like the Times News or any other, mainstream media outlet. They're catering to the screaming minority, and they are screaming, and they're getting their way. And like again, I say it again, all of the good, hardworking, patriotic people, God-fearing people are working. We're working. We ain't got time to go protest at the Capitol.
Randy, I appreciate your call like I do every day, and I'm running out of time. Look at your wristwatch. You can see why, but call me back, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We got to run right now, but I appreciate all the input, and it's about time we had people speak out, and I really respect you for your phone calls, each and every one of you. Don't forget, hey, guess what? It is a spring, I love that word, spring tire sale going on at all your Magic Valley Les Schwab tire centers. Oh, boy, springtime. They're thinking the way I like to think. Spring and summer coming on. Yes, sirree. Save money, and you can get any and all the tires you need for your car, your pickup, SUV, your trailers, your horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. Oh, yeah, big spring tire sale going on right now. Along with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more. Get ready for springtime and summer driving. I love that. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. I'll be back in 7. Oh, good morning on another windy day. I wish that wind would kind of subside a little bit. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they are having right now their big spring tire sale, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you, and Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, Wheels has this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all in the Georgia struggle. Western Waste services, we care about community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste services is lending a hand. Always at your disposal. Western Waste services.
Don't forget to get on the route service. I've told you this many times. They will come get your garbage on a weekly basis, and it's gone. It's out of there. And don't forget to check on, too, the Power in Pink with the pink trash carts and help support the fight against breast cancer. I think this is phenomenal, and we can thank our friends at Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. Call them today at 734-6969 Western Waste. Thank you very much. Also, we want to remind you about our friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I showed up yesterday for my appointment, and yes, we went back into the treatment of my leg, and by golly, they do a good job. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists there at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And if you're recouping from a surgery or an accident or whatever, please don't suffer. Get rid of the aching and pain and get over to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They know and they can help you, believe me. And they're the ones with the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in this entire area. Check it out. Call them for an appointment today. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Absolutely top-notch folks. You know, somebody else that's top-notch, and I really salute them for the way that they treat families and serve families, and I'm talking about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff. And believe me, they always provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please, ladies and gentlemen, remember the name and the number, Hanson Mortuary at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. A dear friend is up next, and really do appreciate his taking the time out of a busy schedule to be on our program every Wednesday, and that, of course, is Indianapolis, Indiana. Dave Bego, good morning, Captain. How are you?
I'm doing good, Sergeant. How are you doing?
Well, always I end up with a lesser rank. How come?
Because I like to tease you.
Okay. Oh, speaking of teasing, what kind of teasing is going on in the clown circus of the Democratic Party? We thought that Lazarus had died. Now he came back to life in the name of Joe Biden. What's going on?
It's amazing, you know, because the other ones are so far out on the left wing, and you know, and that I think that some of the middle mainstream Democratic Party is pushing back, which I think is a good thing. But you know, the problem with Joe Biden is he can't even tell the difference between his wife and his daughter.
Dave, honestly, and I'm not saying this or trying to get into a conversation to belittle or berate anybody that's getting up in age, because, quite frankly, you and I are knocking on that same door. But, all that being said, people can honestly appraise that Joe Biden does not seem to be in command of his senses and his thoughts. And do you think I'm being unfair and harsh, or do you think I'm right?
No, I think you're right. And I don't know if I ever told you, but I have a friend in Indianapolis that he's got a place down in Fort Myers, and I played golf with him several years ago at their golf course, and I forget what hole it was like number 11 or something like that. We hit our tee shots. We're out in the middle of the fairway, and there's a bunch of big condos over the left side. And he says, Dave, look at these condos. Look all the way to the end, and the one at the top up there. You see that? And I go, well, yeah. He says, that's Joe Biden's condo. And he dropped a bunch of golf balls on the ground. He says, let's fire golf balls at him. And his comment was, he says, Joe doesn't know what he's doing. He's lost it. And he was talking about his mentality. And I just found out recently Joe Biden didn't even have his place down in Fort Myers anymore.
Really?
And the guy that had me over there says he's just, he's kind of, his mind's going away on him.
Well, he makes a lot of mistakes. Now, I'm going to say this, and I think you will concur, because you're even more even-tempered than I am on certain situations. But whether it's making a mistake and saying, well, I'm running for the Senate, and then having to come back and say, I meant to say the presidency, or being on with Chris Wallace last Sunday on Fox News and say, thank you, Chuck, and then having to be told that it was Chris Wallace, or introducing his wife and his sister vice versa, numerous things. Once, twice, maybe, but not every day, not a different gaffe of the day from Joe Biden. Something's wrong.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, as you get older, you tend to forget things, and some people's minds start to go away faster than others, and that, and that's evidently, when you see him say these things that you just talked about, he's having problems with it. And, if he wants to improve himself, he's going to have to back up, and he's going to have, before he starts chattering, he's going to have to stop and think about it, make sure he's saying the right thing.
Well, and let's take this a step further. Let's suppose, and God help me for saying this, and I don't mean it, I don't want it to come to fruition, but let's suppose that Biden wins the presidency. And all of a sudden there's a international emergency, and he's sitting in the ready room with the chiefs of staff and has to make a very, very important decision now. Not 5 minutes from now, but now. I don't see it in Joe Biden.
No, that's right. It's his ability to manage and handle things just isn't there. And, Trump, the good thing about Trump, I mean, he does some things and says some things that he shouldn't do. He's not always as professional as he should be. But, he's a businessman. He's been in the free market system, and he understands how to make things work and how to make good decisions and move things forward. And unfortunately, when you look at the Democratic candidates, there's two left now because Bloomberg dropped out today.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, neither one of them ever worked in the free market very much.
When you talk about dropping out, now when I started the program this morning, there were innuendos that they were going to, and of course this is coming to fruition. But when you look at Buttigieg, I want to back up just a little bit. You look at your old buddy Mayor Pete from Indiana, and then of course the others that were involved in running the string along to where they finally dropped out, and then threw their support over to Biden. What about Bernie Sanders? He's not out of the woods yet. He still leads, if you will, in most of the primary voting and delegates. What about Bernie Sanders? I mean, what do you think's going to happen over next week's 6 more primaries for the Democrats?
I think Bernie's going to have a hard time because Bernie is, he's being controlled behind the scenes by the unions, and that's why he's after the socialistic, communistic country, because that's what they want to do, is turn this company and our country into a socialist, communist country and take God out of our country and bring the country down and control us. And that's what it's all about. And I don't know if you ever watch Life, Liberty, and Levin, but he had a guy on Sunday night that wrote a book about this. And, he talks about the same things I do and the same type of tactics in my book, The Devil at Our Doorstep, the unions use against me and my employees and everybody. It's all about bringing you down and controlling you, and they don't want God in this country. And he brought that up many times. It's very interesting, and I think the American people need to understand that and wake up.
I've got to go back, even though he's a memory, but Michael Bloomberg, multi-billionaire with a B, spending almost $700 million on a totally defunct and disorganized campaign, and the only thing he did get was about 100 caucus goers in American Samoa. What kind of wastage? If the Democrats want to cry about wastage, look at that.
I know, and Bloomberg, he was a businessman and stuff like that. He's not very professional, and he doesn't really think about things out there. And to him, money's nothing because he's got $625 billion or something like that. Yeah. And to him, that was change that he threw out there. And the American people need to understand that.
Let me ask you a question that I know that nobody that's on my program knows more about than you do. You mentioned Bernie and the unions. Okay. But now seeing what's going on in the Democratic Party with an absolute, and it's not under the table, it's a blatant thrust to throw Bernie out of there. Do you think the unions are going to come back in full force and underwrite Biden?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. The unions, they're going to push for any Democratic candidate they think that's going to run and then get behind. And if you looked at my newsletter this week, even Bloomberg joined the unions in his campaign. And I really think the unions are helping, Biden in areas and big time in Sanders, because I don't know if you've seen Sanders on TV. But, when he's out and about and stuff like that, and they're doing interviews with him and, in different places, a lot of times behind him you see SEIU, people with SEIU shirts on and SEIU posters behind him on the wall and stuff like that. This just tells you how much the unions are supporting him.
Yeah. What are your biggest fears right now from the Democratic Party? Do you think, honestly, that if Biden gets the nod in Milwaukee this summer at the Democratic Convention, do you really feel that the numbers across the United States could beat Trump?
I don't think so. I don't think Biden or Sanders, either one, can beat Trump.
And why do you feel that way?
Because I just don't think they have the ability, especially in a debate situation, to confront him and make what they want to do sound positive and good for the American people. Well, Trump will be able to do that. The only thing I think Trump needs to do is be very, very professional when he's up there doing this, and not get himself into saying things or tweeting things that are basically bullets that the other party can shoot him with.
I said yesterday and the day before on my program with some of my guests, I said that I feel, now you tell me if I'm wrong, I feel that Donald Trump has got to do something now to entertain and try to encourage the younger generation, the millennials, if you will, 30 and under, to look at and possibly push the button for the Republican Party and Trump in the fall. I think that is a generation that has been too easily swayed by the Democrats because of the free attitude. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you, and it's not just the free stuff. Is the left has controlled our education system for the last 30 years, and they've got teachers that are unionized, and they got professors that are have been told by the unions and got into the colleges and universities by the unions pushing them in there, that have brainwashed these kids and saying that capitalism is bad. And we got to get away from it. We got to go to socialism. Here's why socialism's good and all that. And unfortunately, a lot of the millennials have that in their head. And Trump, you're right, has to get out and he has to expose why it's not good. And when you look at socialist, communist countries that have gone from capitalism to socialism, like Venezuela, which at one time was a very vibrant country because it has some of the biggest oil production in the world, and they have people come in and take it over and change it to a socialistic, communistic country, and you have more people in poverty than ever, and people living in boxes and on the street and stuff like that. It's sad. And if you look at the Democratic Party, I just want to bring this to people's minds. And you look at the major Democratic places in this country, in cities like Los Angeles and Seattle and Chicago and New York, you see more people, and these are all run by the Democrats. You see more people that are homeless and living on the street, living in tents on the streets in the neighborhoods and stuff like that, because they're more of a socialistic type of environment.
Yeah, but we're going to take a phone call, but before we do, caller, stand by. Give me a short answer on this, Dave. So with all that being said, which was absolutely the truth, you spoke entirely the truth about socialism and the demise of countries that have adopted it. Why can't the people here see through this facade and know how dangerous socialism is?
Because, and this has happened since we've won World War II and beat the Soviet Union and that. The rest of the world knows they can't beat the United States militarily. And their whole program, and they've even come out and said this 30 or 40 years ago, is, we're going to beat you from within. And that's what they've been doing by getting into our education system and other ways of getting in and brainwashing these people.
Absolutely. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. We know that the Democratic Party does not like Bernie. They want him out of there. He's not a true Democrat. And They know that Joe is losing it and that his health may not hold him for too much longer. So they would run him even if he were dead so that they can keep that name recognition there. And then they'll put a strong VP with him, maybe a Hillary, maybe a Michelle, knowing that if he gets knocked off, then that person goes in to the White House. And I think that's the big plan right now.
Do you, caller, before I send it back over to Dave, do you, caller, honestly believe that Biden could or would take Hillary if he gets the nod as a running mate?
Yeah, I believe he would. I think they're all controlled by the powers that be, the Democratic Party. They would be telling him what to do, I believe.
I'm going to have Dave Beagle respond to that, sir. Thank you for your call and your insight on this. I appreciate it. Dave, how do you feel about what the caller just said?
Well, I think he's got some good points. I really do, and I wouldn't be surprised if the left controls Biden and they push somebody like that in. Now, my question though is whether Hillary or Michelle, either one, would want to be involved with Biden. So it could be a tough situation either way.
You know, there's so many people that scare me in the Republican Party, and Biden addressed one of those people 2 days ago when he said to Beto O'Rourke, if I get elected as president, I'm going to put you in charge of gun control and guns in this country. Wow, that kind of got my attention.
Yeah, that's scary stuff, and I hope and I really believe that the Republican Party will do well and maintain the Senate and the presidency. I'd like to see him get Congress back so we can get away from that kind of stuff.
Dave, I'll tell you what's going to beat Donald Trump, and I think you're going to be absolutely in agreement with me. What is going to defeat Donald Trump in November, what is going to throw the GOP into a tailspin, are Republican conservative voters that don't take the time and effort to go vote.
Well, that could be, but again, Trump and the Republican Party have to get out and get in front of people and get them geared up to get out and vote so that we can move forward and save this country.
Absolutely. Anything else that's kind of biting at your craw this morning that you want to put out on the airwaves? I've got one other thing I wanted to mention, and that was the lunacy that's on the left. Did you hear about that Denver councilwoman that said if she got the coronavirus that she would go after she was infected to Trump rallies and try to make Trump supporters ill? This was insane.
Yeah, there's sick people out there, and unfortunately, people on the far left, their tactics in that are just to do anything they can to win because they really don't understand our free market system and how to do the right things and build a capitalistic free market society that provides opportunity for everybody.
Let me ask you one quick thought I overlooked a few moments ago. What about Buttigieg? What about Mayor Pete Buttigieg from your state of Indiana? What's his future look like now? Back to being a mayor? Apply for the dog catcher job? What?
Well, I don't think he's very favorable in South Bend, and I don't know him. I've never met him, but just from watching him and listening to him and that, and what I'm hearing from people in Indiana, people in South Bend are not very happy with him, even though he promotes things that he's done. And so my gut feeling is he's probably going to be getting out of politics.
Really? That's interesting. Well, I want to tell you how much I look forward to having you on the program every Wednesday. Dave Beagle, a dear friend back in Indiana, and I certainly wish you the best. I've got spring fever today. We're looking for a weekend of maybe up in the 60s. God bless you, man, and have a great day on the golf course.
Well, thank you, and you have a great day.
All right, buddy. Thanks much. Dave Beagle, a real friend of this program. He's been on this program a long time. Want to remind you that coming up this Saturday, oh yeah, this Saturday is one of the best bull sales anywhere in the West. Absolutely. It's the Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale, 25th Annual Bull Sale, and it's going to be at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. Merv May is going to be the auctioneer, absolutely the best, and they're going to have 80 bulls selling, 30 coming 2-year-olds and 50 yearlings, and free delivery of those bulls up to 300 miles radius of Burley. So, hey, you better be there. Cordell and Patty Sheridan, their life's work has really paid off at this premier great 25th Annual Bull Sale. Be there. If you have questions, call them at 430-5532. 430-5532. Sheridan Ranch Quality Bull Sale this Saturday at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard at 1 o'clock. Don't you miss it. And I also want to remind you about our friends at Let's Ride. You know, with a day like this, even though we got a little wind, you know, you get the spring fever and you see the robins out in the yard or the ones that are sitting on my windowsill picking at the glass. I don't know why that robin does that. But you get the spring fever. Well, you need to get a four-wheeler and get ready for spring and summer, going up in the hills, getting away from all the maddening crowds. I'm telling you, folks, if you don't have a four-wheeler, this is the place to go. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. If you do have a four-wheeler, you better get it serviced so it's ready to go boom, boom, up in the hills in a very short period of time. Stop over or give them a call, 436-4771. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It's true. This is where the fun is sold. Absolutely. By the way, a little programming note. Sharon Hardy, oops, I almost did it. She's listening and she's snickering. I almost fell back into saying her former name. Not original, but former name. Sharon Wilmot will be doing the program tomorrow. And I've got a day to where we're trying to gather up things and get things taken care of business-wise. And so she's going to be on the air tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Zeb at the Ranch. That being said, right now, I have been looking forward to having this lady on the program ever since I saw the information sheet about her book, Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, Being Black and Conservative in America. Good morning, Kathy Barnett. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Well, no, it's my pleasure. I mean, my goodness, I understand that you're also currently running for the United States Congress in the 4th District of Pennsylvania, correct?
I know, right? Never a dull moment.
Well, tell me about this book, Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, Being Black and Conservative in America. Boy, oh boy, I want to hear more about this book. Tell us about it.
I know. I'm so excited for the opportunity to have written this book. It is doing very, very well. I'm so very grateful for all of those who are reading it and commenting about how it's giving them greater perspective on what it means to be black and conservative in America. I am an American first and foremost, and I love this country. I spent 10 years in the U.S. Army Reserves. I would have laid my life down had I been called to do so. But I remember as a young girl thinking to myself, what exactly am I laying my life down for? And it started this journey of me, you know, delving into the Founding Fathers, delving into the making of America, delving into my own heritage, with slavery being a part of my legacy, and beginning to understand what does it mean to be an American? What are the sacrifices that have been made before me? And as I generally tell people, you know, I understand why some people think if you're black, you must vote Democrat. Because overwhelmingly, we vote Democrat, 85% up to 90%. So I get it. And for me, you know, I grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama. I grew up below the bottom rung of the economic ladder. And so I completely get it because I feel as though I was born into the Democrat Party just like I was born into brown skin. There was never a point of separation until I began to do a deeper dive on who I am as an American.
Kathy, I've got a favor to ask. Are you speaking on a speaker phone?
I'm so sorry.
Could we possibly not have the speakerphone? It's causing a little bit of an echo, and could we talk directly into a handheld, if you would? I'd really appreciate that. Is that possible?
Yes, I'm doing that now.
All right, thank you. While you're doing that, I want to tell you that I absolutely, and I've said this many, many times on my program, I am sick and tired, and I mean this, Kathy, of the colorization of America. I don't care what someone's skin color is. I don't care what their ethnicity is. As long as they are straight shooters, honest people that are trying to get involved and make America what it should be again, I really don't care about color. How would you respond to that?
I mean, and hopefully this sounds much better.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
If there was an echo.
Thank you.
But to the degree that we're talking about my vote, you're right. What does the color of my skin have to do with that? But I remember Michelle Obama during the 2006, during the second presidential election for her husband, Barack Obama. I remember Michelle Obama going on to TV One, which is a predominantly black television show. And she said to the host, Roland Martin, that it does not matter who's on that ballot. It does not matter what they've said or what they've done. You just vote Democrat. And I thought to myself, how offensive. Yeah. How offensive. That, you know, and again, TV One is a predominantly black television station. And so, and I thought to myself, so she's speaking to black people, and she's telling black people it doesn't matter who's on the ballot, it doesn't matter what they've said, it doesn't matter what they've done, it doesn't matter if they've made promises and broken those promises, you just shut your mouth and vote Democrat. That's how I perceived it. And I found that to be offensive because my vote, just like your vote as a white person, is should be wooed, should be pursued after, right? You should I should take into consideration what you've said, what you've done, and how those promises or broken promises have impacted my life. So I agree with you. As it relates to how I vote, the color of my skin should not be one of the determining factors. Okay, she's black, just move her over to the side. She's in the back pocket of a Democrat. No. And that is what this president has done, and that's why I think so many people, especially the black community, are waking up to the reality of just how much we've been manipulated by the Democrat Party. For the first time in the past 56 years since LBJ and his Great Society, black people are now being wooed after. Our vote is being wooed after. The most unracist thing President Trump has done is to not assume that just because I'm black, I'm going to vote Democrat.
Absolutely. You know, and Kathy, it's so refreshing to talk to you, and I feel I've never met you or talked to you before, but I feel comfortable in saying this, that you'll give me a good response on this, is that I personally, I will not refer to any class of any person or ethnicity with a hyphenated type atmosphere. I will not say African American. I will not say Mexican American. I will not say Japanese American. I feel we live in the melting pot of the world, and color to me does not matter. We are Americans first and foremost and should be judged as such.
And you're right. I'm an American. And when I look at the things that define who I am, the color of my skin is not in the top three things. The fact that I'm a Christian, the fact that I am a mother to a wonderful and a wife to a wonderful family, the fact that I am an American, those things trump so many other things as I break out my life. The second chapter of my book is called Living Outside of the Box, right? Because we see politicians are constantly trying to figure out who we are by creating all of these various boxes, identity boxes. Okay, she's black. Okay, a woman. Okay, suburban. Okay, gay. Okay, straight. Okay, young. Okay, old. And they're always trying to pigeonhole us into boxes. And I refuse to be in that box. And it has cost me a lot to decide at a relatively young age that I will no longer be manipulated by other people's boxes. I will figure out who I am, and I will walk in that. But at the same time, I am black. and I am an American. I understand, just like being a woman and an American, being a woman has given me a perspective that you as a man may not readily get, right? There are certain places I will not go because I'm a woman. There's certain places I will not walk down because I'm a woman. There's a certain way that I sit and certain things that I do because I am a woman. It's the same way with being black. It's the same way with being black and growing up in the deep South on a pig farm, it has given me a particular perspective that may not be readily available to someone who hasn't experienced those particular things or haven't seen the world through that. But to say that's all I am, because when I go into the voting booth, especially for a Democrat, that's all they see. All they see is a black person. They don't see that I'm a mother. They don't see that I'm a veteran. They don't see that I have 2 young kids and I'm trying to figure out how to send them to college and that I want my community to be safe, or that I'm married to a wonderful man and I want him to have as many job opportunities as possible. They don't see that. The only thing they see is how can we manipulate the color of her skin? How can we manipulate her gender, her sexual orientation, or whatever the case may be, to gain more power, to gain more control.
Right there was an absolute great dissertation about problems and how to solve the problem. But here, let me put an addendum onto that. When you look at inner city Chicago, inner city San Francisco, L.A., New York, doesn't make any difference. Why can't these people that are living in the inner city understand and know that there is a better way to do things other than just being subjected to what liberal leaders are throwing at them? Why can't there be an uprising and a moving out and a moving forward on their own? Why do they feel like they have to be stymied by a political party?
I heard a cow.
Yeah, you did. And I should explain to you, Kathy, on my program, Zeb at the Ranch, when we have a call, we hear a cow. So I apologize. I should have told you that up front.
But you know what? I talk about this extensively all the way throughout the book, and not just applying to black, but to various other categories or boxes. Listen, the Democrat Party has spent a tremendous amount of time and money. Lyndon B. Johnson is famous for saying something very derogatory about creating the Great Society and the whole welfare program as it relates to black people who will be voting for him for the next 50 years because of all of these free things. But, there's a fact in my book where I talk about, the reality that poverty is not just measured in dollars and cents. We have a mind-poor poverty problem, a thinking poverty problem in our culture, and it goes beyond just dollars and cents because inner cities get way more government funding than my suburban area gets. And you have to say, well, so if you create another program, because Democrats are good with creating programs. They got a program to fix everything. And yet you see all of these hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars being poured into these various economically distressed neighborhoods. And you don't see you see very few people's lives being improved by those things, right? Because poverty is not just measured in dollars and cents. There's a mind poverty that's going on in these cultures as well. And until you begin to raise up the bar of expectations, you're going to continue to see that. You also see things like false narratives like white privilege. That is, now, do privileges exist? Of course privileges exist. There are privileges Donald Trump kids will have that my kids won't have. My own children are far more privileged than I was when I was growing up, right? So, of course, we have privileges. But this false narrative of white privilege would have me as a black person walking around looking at my black skin as though it has betrayed me. So everywhere I go, my book, and I can't get out of this black skin, so everywhere I go, I'm looking at my black skin and I'm seeing something that has betrayed me, that has barred me from achieving, from thriving in the world. So So therefore, one may say to themselves, why try? Why not just get on welfare and food stamps? Why not just have the government come in and take care of me? The odds are against me. Why should I work really hard, right? So you have all of these various narratives in addition to this lowering of the bar of expectations where don't worry, you don't have to work that hard. You don't have to jump real high. You don't have to reach to that next rung. We'll take care of you. And that's essentially what AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, said last week when she referenced, there is no such thing as a boot and a bootstrap and pulling yourself up. No, in fact, you need us, the government. You need a program. You can't do it on your own. You need us to come in and bail you out.
You are a breath of fresh air. God bless you. And I'm going to take this call and then I'm going to wrap up our interview, but I got to have you back. Caller, quickly. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead, please.
Well, I'm sure you know Candace Owens. I don't know if you're friends with her or not, but I respect her immensely. I respect what you're saying immensely. So I'm sure you would like to meet you somehow. I don't know that it'll ever happen. You know what luck is? When preparation meets opportunity. It's called hard work. We live in southern Idaho, and I work out amongst the farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and I see Hispanic men who work hard, who are honest, ethical, and the reason why they have excelled is because they weren't worried about being oppressed. They did work, had victimhood. They went to work, and everybody honors it around here. To call Idaho prejudiced because we're mostly white is a fallacy. I'll hang up. Thank you.
Respond to the caller quickly, if you would, Kathy.
Yes, I love that. I would love for people to go to my website at KathyBarnettForCongress.com, KathyBarnettForCongress.com. We not only need your time, talent, but we need some of your treasure. And I would love to be able to contact have everyone contact me, and let's continue the dialogue. But in short, I agree with that, right? It was hard work, keeping my nose clean, and following some basic rules that allowed a little black girl from Alabama who grew up on a pig farm below the bottom ladder of the the rung of life, to get out of that situation and to have had so many wonderful experiences and now running for Congress.
Okay, Kathy, you said two things earlier in the conversation. I want to have you elaborate on just a little bit, and I've got about 5 minutes left here. You mentioned mind poverty and the acceptance of being less. And then I would also add two words that seem to be lacking in the inner city and the mindset of many, many people, too many people today, is they've lost their own self-responsibility. How would you respond to what I just said?
I agree. Oh, my goodness. Have you read my book? No. You're speaking everything from it because, again, it's woven all the way throughout my book, and that is the concept of helping people to remember what is in their own best interest. We've lost that in our culture today. We've been so manipulated to think, oh, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Trumper, I'm a Libertarian. No, I am Kathy Barnett. I am a mother to two wonderful little kids who have really big dreams. I am a wife, I am a sister, I'm a daughter, all of these other things, right? And so let me figure out what is in my own best interest, right? What is in my family's own best interest? And as I go out and abroad, I'm not in a highly Republican-friendly area, but it's me going out and helping, quote-unquote, Democrats to remember what is in your own best interest and begin to vote for people who will help you and your family succeed in life, who will protect. I mean, it's in all of our best interests that we know who is coming into our country. Why are they coming into our country? Where are they going when they get into our country? Are they able to take care of themselves, or will I need to take care of them? It's in all of our best interest, and even Democrats recognize that. They get triggered when you say the word wall, but they respond favorably when you say border security, because everyone understands I need to make sure that my family and my community are safe, and we have people in here who will do well. We've just gotten so manipulated by the whole, the R's and the D's that we've forgotten me and my family and what is in our own best interest. And I think that is what we have to go out and start championing and having these conversations with people.
Real quick, Kathy, and please give me a short answer on this. What about our education system? There is, I think, the number one problem that needs to be rectified. Your thoughts?
Yes, Frederick Douglass says, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. I agree. Education opens up so many doors of opportunities. I am for pro-school choice. I believe parents know what is in their child's best interest.
I cannot wait to read this book. Audience, I want you to remember this title, Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, Being Black and Conservative in America, written by Kathy Barnett, who is also running for U.S. Congress in the 4th District of Pennsylvania. I can't vote back there, but I'll tell you what, if I lived there, you'd have my vote. Thanks, Kathy. And by the way, where can they get the book before I let you go?
Anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, just wherever books are sold. Please go to my website, KathyBarnettForCongress.com, KathyBarnettForCongress.com.
And please come back in the future. I've enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful lady. And I'm really going to look forward to reading that book. Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain by Kathy Barnett. Nice lady. We better get to the weather forecast. I'm so late again. Yeah, that old clock is a ticking. Our weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for over 50 years. Yeah, I know I'm going to say this and you're going to cringe. It's tax time. Oh my goodness. And tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, all sorts of ways to serve you through Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. For you, your family, and your business. I'm telling you, they help a lot of people. People that are starting businesses or maybe changing to a partnership or corporation, maybe wanting to expand their business. Please don't hesitate. Get a hold of them today. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Almost feels like spring. Here's a look at your weather forecast, and we are on a warming trend as we make our way through the rest of the week. Maybe some precipitation for this weekend. We are expecting sunny skies for today, high of 56. It is going to be a little bit breezy. Winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 55 tonight. Mostly clear skies with a low of 31. Winds dying down just a little bit for tomorrow. Sunny skies, high of 60. For Thursday night, mostly clear, low of about 36. For Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 63. By Saturday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers in the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 56. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7th Range.
Gina, thank you very much. And again, I want to reiterate the fact that you need to get a hold of the best and work with the professionals. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. Like I said, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the best at what they do in serving you in Burley and Rupert. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. Bringing you the weather. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see what else we got cooking here. Oh, yeah, I got to remind you about Todd and the crew over there at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I mean, for you, your family, and your business, life insurance, health insurance, I mean, you need to take care of everything, and you need to know that people are helping you. I urge you to call these folks. They are so dedicated and responsive to your needs. I've known them and worked with them for many, many years. They are top-notch. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, how do you get about seeing them? Well, you just pick up the phone and call and make an appointment. The rest is all they'll take care of for you. Absolutely. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, serving you on Highway 24 in Rupert. Sharon's going to do the program tomorrow for Deanne and I, as we have some business that has to be taken care of before the end of the week. And some of the things that are normally on Thursdays, we're going to take care of and not have to pass along to Sharon. One of those great issues is if you're hungry, you know where I'm headed. If you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places for you to go and eat. Listen to this. Oh, boy. AC Drive-In. 601 East Main in Burley, and they've got all the burgers, all the hamburgers, cheeseburgers, the famous Farmer Brown burgers, the fish burgers, everything along with the fries, tater tots, and all the sauces and the shakes, and oh boy, it is delicious at the AC Drive-In in Burley on 601 East Main. Or, how about this? Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. I'm drooling. Breakfast burrito. Listen to me. Have you ever had one of their breakfast burritos? Knock your boots off. Delicious. Scrambled eggs with either bacon or sausage or both. Cheese, onions, tomatoes, sauce on a tortilla shell with a cup of coffee. Ha! Look out, world. Here you go. And the rest of the menu all day long, absolutely fantastic at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, then, of course, there are two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And, boy, they got corn dogs and burritos for $1.29 each. You better check it out. And, of course, they've got the fish and the shrimp and the halibut baskets for Lent. And just great food and super, super nice people serving you at Burgers Etc. Again, two locations, one in Burley, one in Rupert. You stop in and see them today. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn, with food that you love right there at Steve-O's. Delicious buffalo burgers and the cheesy broccoli spuds. And don't forget they got cupcakes, different flavor every week. You don't want to go out for supper. You don't want to stay home for supper. Blew that. You don't want to stay home for supper. Well, go out to Steve-O's and enjoy the people and enjoy the meal at 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Let me see. What else have we got cooking here? I got time for one more quick phone call. Give me a jingle on the landline. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. One thing I would like to say, and anytime there is a major disaster, I think all of us should get down on our knees and thank the good Lord above for our safety. But the people in Tennessee, especially in the Nashville area, with over 24 dead and horrendous destruction in the Nashville area, our thoughts and prayers go out to them. Caller, quickly, you're on the air.
Yeah, well, hey, when it comes to Klobuchar and Buttigieg, Buttigieg, how gutless they are and how they attacked Biden, and now all of a sudden they're endorsing him.
Yeah.
And, I can't, I guess I just would like to hope that somehow, if Biden does become the nominee, there'll be some sort of investigation and news out of what happened with him and his son. Joe Biden is a corrupt individual, a corrupt politician, and he's not mentally up for anything. And so, I don't know. The other day they said the Democrats are just trying to decide who they want to lose to Trump.
I don't know if that's an attitude or a statement that you can stand behind, but one thing that really bothers me is that I have never seen in my lifetime a weaker group of possible nominees for the presidency from any party. I thought the Republicans had the notch on that a couple of years ago, but when you start talking about Klobuchar and you talk about Elizabeth Warren and wild-haired commie Bernie Sanders and Biden that doesn't remember if he's at the podium or if he's standing in a Mets baseball game, I mean, we've got problems if any one of those people ever were to be elected.
Well, I don't see how they could win, but, you know, if like, again, if Biden's the nominee, then I'd like to think that somebody, somewhere, the Attorney General, would investigate what happened with Ukraine and Hunter Biden and Joe, and, you know, this stuff has got to come out.
I agree with you, and I'm out of time for this hour, but you brought up a really good point. Old buddy, I appreciate it. Thank you, Randy. And right now we're going to head for the news from CBS and be back in about 7 minutes. Okay, here we go. Hour number 3. Excuse me, Zeb at the Ranch, a little frog in my throat this morning. And welcome back to hour number 3 and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley. Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations right now involved in a great big spring tire sale. You stop in and see them today. And along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And lastly, our dear friends excuse me, at Greystone Crossing Senior Living, 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. And believe me, like I said yesterday, you better call seniors for an appointment to look at this beautiful facility, Greystone Crossing. A 12-bedroom home, and they provide 3 meals a day, plus snacks, plus housekeeping, local transportation, all included in the rent. This is a beautiful home. You can live there with your friends. It's phenomenal. Call for an appointment today to look at the facility of Greystone Crossing at 650-4979. I'll repeat that number, 650-4979. Greystone Crossing Senior Living, seniors living the good life with friends. Want to also mention, too, about our dear friends with 7K Metals, and that's, of course, Lon Hardy and Sharon Wilmot. You know, it was only a matter of maybe 4 or 5 months ago that I became interested and enthused about 7K Metals and silver purchases that can help build my financial security and my future. And you know what else about that? It's a great saving opportunity, but also a valued treasure in the future for our loved ones. I urge you to find out more, and please tell them that I told you to call, and call Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259 and find out more about silver purchases and 7K Metals. Right now, let's go to the phone line. First and foremost, let me ask Wheels. Wheels, do we have our guest ready to go?
Yes, sir, we do.
Good man, good man. Thank you very much. I read the information sheet on this book that we're going to talk about next. It's called Boots in the Ashes by Cynthia Beebe, and wow, I mean, that's the only way I can describe this book. She is a ATF agent, Cynthia Beebe, and she tells us all kinds of tales about what really goes on with the ATF. Good morning, Cynthia Beebe. How are you?
I'm great, Seth. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm good, but I got to tell you that when I read some of this information sheet, you are a lady that deserves to write a book. Holy moly, some of the stories that you can tell.
Well, thank you. I had a long and interesting career and managed to catch quite a few bad guys, and I thought it would make a good story.
Let me ask you, Cynthia, what was the motivating factor for you to sit down and say, okay, today's the day I'm going to get a legal pad and I'm going to start writing this book called Boots in the Ashes? Why?
Well, it was something I had thought about for many years, and to make a long story short, I had been retired for over a year, and I ended up at the same time with both a knee injury and a foot injury. And I was more or less supposed to sit down for a month, and I said, well, if I'm ever going to write a memoir, this is the time. And I got started, and when I first started writing, I kept writing like a federal agent, and it took me a while to break that habit. But I had good responses from people, and it was really, I think, having that sore foot and that sore knee, and it was just time to say, okay, it's now or never.
Let me ask you this, Cynthia. Were there any restrictions or things that you couldn't write about due to the fact that maybe there's some cases still in litigation, or did you have kind of a free rein to just tell people like it was?
Well, in my particular case, the majority of the cases I talk about occurred in the 1990s, and the four major cases I talk about all went to lengthy trials, which means all of that information is public information, and I was able to access trial transcripts and such. Of course, you can never reveal confidential information, and there are a handful of things I could never reveal, but I made a point, I never even wanted to get close to that line. I never wanted to push that limit. So I made sure that my book was focused on stories that were based on public information.
You know, one of the things that caught my eye on your information sheet about your book, it said, quote, as a special agent for 27 years, Beebe gives the reader firsthand knowledge of the human capacity for evil. That word jumped right off the page at me. Do you think that today, more so than in years gone by, there is much more evil in the world?
Well, that's an interesting question, and that's such a strong word, and I do believe it exists. Of course, I saw it, but is there more than in the past? That I couldn't say. Obviously, the human history is full of evil deeds. So, but it's certainly with us today. I think it's part of the human condition.
Maybe I could rephrase it and say it this way, Cynthia. Is there more of a lack of respect for human beings and the law as compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago?
Boy, that's an interesting question, and you're the first one who's put that to me, and I've had a number of people ask me questions. I'm not trying to evade answering your question other than to say I really don't know. Things have changed, so I don't want to make it out like people used to respect the law all the time and now they don't, because they didn't used to respect the law all the time 20 and 30 years ago. There were plenty of people who did not.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the best answer I can give you, if that helps.
What are some of the instances that perhaps, or stories that you could share with us without taking too much away from reading the book? I mean, one of the things that talked about in the opening sentence was that you had cases involving bombings and arson and, of course, the world infamous, if you will, Hell's Angels. Tell us a little bit about those circumstances.
Well, I was in one of the first bomb and arson cases ever created by ATF. Bomb and arson groups in the Chicago field office. And I ended up working a bombing case that occurred in 1993 in Highland Park, Illinois, in which a very prominent Chicago criminal defense attorney wanted to murder his wife because he wanted to marry a younger woman, and his wife was contesting the divorce. And in the past, this criminal defense attorney, his name was Richard Kagan, as part of his defense practice, had defended what were then the Hell's Henchmen and are now the Hell's Angels, members of the Hell's Angels, and including their enforcer, whose name was Ronald Petkus. And by definition, the enforcer in any outlaw motorcycle group is the muscle, is the heavy, is the one who's very good at administering violence. And Richard Kagan hired Ronald Petkus to kill his wife. So in that one case, we had attempted murder and bombings and Hell's Angels. And behind that case, the Hell's Angels and the Outlaws, the Hell's Angels were coming into the Chicago area. They were very strong in the West at the time, but not in the Midwest. And they wanted to create a presence in the Midwest. And the Outlaws, which is another very powerful national group, outlaw motorcycle group, are headquartered, or one of their main headquarters is in southern Wisconsin. And the Outlaws did not want the Angels to get a foothold in the Chicago area. So literally at the same time as I'm investigating Petkus and the Hell's Henchmen at the time, the Henchmen and the Angels were in the midst of a huge battle with the Outlaws that ended up in one of the biggest federal cases against motorcycle groups in federal history.
Wow.
So it was pretty wild. There was all kinds of murders and bombings and shootings and knifings, and people were getting stabbed to death with screwdrivers, and it was wild.
And let me ask you this, and I don't mean to sound naive about it. When you talk about two fighting and warring motorcycle clubs, groups, etc., what was the main reason why they were warring about a certain area? Was it drug trafficking, or what was it?
Sure, that was a big part of it. And part of it, just like, countries, is battling over geography, over territory, over access to cities and roads and the people in those cities and roads. Yes, drug trafficking, gun trafficking, prostitution. Outlaw motorcycle clubs are involved in all kinds of criminal activities, and who would not want the Chicago area to be a part of their influence?
Absolutely.
And the Angels wanted to come in and take Chicago, and the Outlaws did not want to allow it, and it turned into a massive battle.
Well, let me take it from the 90s to right now, 2020. Has the problem been rectified, or is the problem still smoldering?
Oh, no, it's still there. I mean, in the sense that outlaw motorcycle clubs continue to do battle all over the country at times, and they're generally speaking, this is kind of a general statement, but there are two main factions, and within each faction there are subsets. And although I could go on and on about the permutations of this, but smaller clubs are protected by bigger clubs, but those allegiances can shift, and the clubs continue to battle over territory. And of course, like any army or any other large corporation, there are battles from within. The head of the Chicago Angels, for example, I don't know that this is happening right now, he might be being challenged from someone within his own group. Mm-hmm. And that happens all the time, too. So, no, there's still massive, massive battles between the outlaw motorcycle groups. And one reason that we, or the general public, don't always hear about it is that when these guys kill each other, unless it's in a very public location, we don't always hear about it. Mm-hmm. It's when the general public is involved that meaning the general public, hear about it, and all of a sudden we'll be like, oh yeah, the Hells Angels and stuff. There was a huge shootout down in Waco, Texas, about 5 or 6 years ago between the Banditos and the Cossacks were involved, and it was at a family restaurant, and there were families with children. It was this massive, massive shootout. It's on YouTube or something. And of course, it made worldwide news, not just national news. So, no, the battle is there. We'll continue.
Let me ask you this question, Cynthia. I know from reading this information sheet on your bio that you were the first woman to earn the coveted Top Gun Award at the ATF Academy, and ATF, of course, standing for Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. What does that mean to win that award, the Top Gun Award, and how and why did you win it?
Well, what it means is that in every academy class, one of the skills that you have to be proficient in, of course, is shooting. And there's a certain now you have to shoot 80% to graduate. But there's also, it's just a competition for who's the best shot in the class. Mm-hmm. And because ATF is all about guns predominantly, although I mostly did bomb and arson, and all about shooting, it is a big deal, and it can be highly competitive, although in my class it was, but the four guys, there were four guys who were kind of battling it out, so to speak, and I really wasn't amongst the front runners. They were all great guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lucky enough to win that day, and they were just great about it. So it was a big deal because I was the first woman ever. And the reason I was able to win it is I had grown up a competitive athlete, and I had very good hand-eye. And I was also competitive. I still am competitive. And I decided I was just going to focus and do the best I could, which I don't know if you shoot guns or not.
Yes.
You know, front sight and trigger control.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot a 98 out of 100, and I had really thought, as did everyone in the class, that whoever won was going to have to shoot a perfect target.
Wow.
And no one did, and I won with a 98.
98. I dare say that I would be lucky to conjure up even half of that, so congratulations. I've got to ask you this. Of all the stories and all the life's memories and everything from being in the ATF, did you ever have certain moments as being an ATF agent where you said to yourself, Cynthia, what in the heck are you doing here?
Oh, sure. There were times when, you know, I did have a lot of great coworkers, but then again, I also had coworkers who weren't my best friends, as happens in any large organizations. And there were times when I felt like I was, you know, hitting my head against the wall. And in fact, my favorite line in the book, I did get frustrated at times, and I wrote, some days I swore so much I could have burned the ears off a drunken sailor. And there were days I felt like that.
You know, I guess law enforcement today, and I mean this when I say this, is taking a hit from the general public, the liberalized public that wants to ban this and stop that and point their finger at the police. Is this a problem with the ATF, or in general, are police not being respected enough today like they used to be?
Well, I don't know that it's a huge problem with ATF per se, because we focus primarily on violent crime. And I don't think anyone is opposed to the police chasing down violent criminals.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question that I think part of it is just the advent of technology. So, you know, police actions can be scrutinized more easily and more carefully from the outside. There's no question that your average street cop in particular, it's the guys who have to wear a uniform every day who I think really have the toughest job, because everything they do is visible to the public. And unless, for example, with me and with ATF, unless you're out on a raid and you're wearing your raid gear, we walk around in normal civilian clothes. We might do something that might look odd to the public, but they wouldn't know that we were federal agents. But a uniformed police officer, whether you are state and local, every single thing you do is scrutinized. And I think the pressure on these men and women to always be on, to never screw off or never, you know, make a public mistake must be difficult to deal with at times.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, when you finish the book and now it's in print, what do you want the readers to take away when they finish the last chapter and close the book? What do you want them to remember about Boots in the Ashes?
Well, that's a great question. I think, first of all, how we build criminal cases, for example, and obtain evidence. But also, one of the reasons I wrote the book, it wasn't just that I personally had a very interesting career, although I think I did, but I also happened to be at my age. I'm 60 years old. I was present at literally the changing of our history. When Richard Nixon signed Title IX into law in 1972, I was in 7th grade. And before he signed that law, very few things that I subsequently went on to do would have been possible to me. But when I entered 8th grade in 1973, all of a sudden, the whole world was open to me as a girl and then later as a woman. So I tried to do justice, not just to writing a great thriller, I hope it is, I hope it's a great yarn, but I wanted to convey to the reader the momentous changes that happened in law enforcement, but also in society. And I also wanted to give the reader a better sense of what ATF is and what ATF agents do. Mm-hmm. Because I think very few people really understand it. I have friends to this day who still say I'm in the FBI, and I've known them for 4 years. You know, we are a federal agency. We're a very narrowly focused federal agency. Unlike the FBI, we're very narrowly focused, almost exclusively on violent crime and terrorism. And we came into being, first with the National Firearms Act, which came into being due to Al Capone and the mobsters during Prohibition.
Right.
And then in 1968, when the Gun Control Act was written and signed into law. And I wanted to give the reader a sense of what ATF is and what we do and why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. And that's predominantly go out and try to catch violent criminals.
You know, I'm going to ask you this question. I've only got a minute left, but how do you leave that kind of a lifestyle, a daily routine, and settle down and do something else? Tell us quickly how you do that.
Well, good question again. I was ready to retire. My son was in middle school and needed a little extra attention, and so from that point of view, that was easy for me because I needed to give him a little extra time and a little extra attention. And when I was in college, I had studied literature and then later on journalism. So in the back of my mind, I had considered writing a book and perhaps trying to create a second career as a writer, which I hope to do. I think I'm going to hope to sell my second book here soon. But I had worked for...
Don't worry about that.
27 years, and it was time for me to do something different.
Absolutely. I apologize. When you hear the moo of a cow, it means we have a caller with a question. And Cynthia, I tell you what, caller, it's got to be very, very brief. I've only got 30 seconds left. Go real fast, please.
Yes. If your house is searched and they find the ATF and the local police and the sheriff, whoever, find guns, myself, I'm a collector, and I have a license for a curio and relics, and I have quite a large number of guns. When those are found, am I going to be labeled a terrorist?
I'll have her answer that quickly on the air. Cynthia, if you would, I'm down to the last few seconds.
No, absolutely not. Not unless there's evidence that you have been participating in terrorist activity. Absolutely not. If you are properly licensed, first of all, there's no reason for anyone to even walk in your front door.
That's right.
So, unless you're doing something that you're not telling me about, no, absolutely not.
Cynthia, real quick, tell me where people can find this book called Boots in the Ashes by Cynthia Beebe. Where can they find it?
At any bookstore, and certainly Amazon and Barnes & Nobles, and online. They can visit my website at www.cynthiabeebe.com. So it is available to the general public in hardcover and ebook and audible book.
I want to tell you, you're a wonderful lady. I wish you a great success with this book, Boots in the Ashes, and I'm going to probably call you to come back in the future. God bless you, and thank you for your time.
Thanks a million. Thank you very much, Seb.
All right. Thank you very, very much for being on the program. I got to get that book. It's called Boots in the Ashes by Cynthia Beebe, and really interesting about the ATF. Holy cow, I got to pay some bills. Let's not forget about the great big Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale coming up. Oh, my goodness, this Saturday, 25th Annual Bull Sale put on by the Sheridan Ranch. Cordell and Patty Sheridan, wonderful people that have devoted their lives to the best of cattle cattle and the best of bulls for this 25th annual bull sale coming up this Saturday at the Burley Livestock Yard at 1 p.m. Don't forget that this Saturday. 80 bulls are going to sell, 30 coming 2-year-olds and 50 yearlings, plus free delivery of up to 300 miles radius of Burley. So don't forget, this is one of the West's most outstanding offerings of yearling and coming 2-year-old Gelbvieh, Angus, and Balancer bulls from the Sheridan Ranch. Cordell and Patty Sheridan. For more information, call them at 430-5532. And real quick, I also want to acknowledge our friends at Patterson's Electronics. I've got to go down there this next week, and I'm just going to sit there and let them tell me everything they've got in the store and explain it to me. I'm not exactly the electronics guru, but I know a lot of you are, and they've got everything over there. Home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos, car audio systems. They just got a whole brand new supply in, complete sound systems, and televisions with Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. Wow, they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and I urge you to stop in and see my friends, Curtis and Lorena at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-6997. Right now, we'll send it to Wheels. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you very much. We're running a little bit late here, and I want to remind you about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. And believe me, this is the place at Lee's Furniture to shop for all your flooring and furniture needs. There is a huge, that means really big, sale going on right now, and believe me, they're getting shipments of new recliners and sofas and love seats and dining room sets, all the flooring, like I said, and don't forget they've got all the mattresses for a good night's sleep. Stop in and see Jeff and the crew today for this great big sale going on and save money at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to economics, I really wish I could have had this man as one of my teachers years ago in high school and college on economics. I might have learned something, and I praise him every time he's on the show because he gives really good answers that everybody can understand about what's going on. Good morning, Dr. Michael Bussler. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Zeb. Thanks for having me. As you know, it's always my pleasure to be here.
I've got to ask you, and I thought of you right away when we saw the first major drop in the stock markets, the Dow Jones, etc., because of the coronavirus. In a nutshell, what do you think may happen or is happening, or maybe it's over-distorted regarding the coronavirus and our markets going on around the world today?
So what the market most fears is uncertainty. If you knew what was going to happen, be it good or bad, you can react to it and know what to do. Uncertainty is what spooks the market. So starting last Monday, the coronavirus looked like it was spreading perhaps worldwide as it was starting to go to different countries outside of China. The press then said that, look, this could turn out to be a worldwide pandemic, could lead to a worldwide recession or worse. Now, once the market started to hear that, everybody panicked. Look, the market was at a record high before that. It was due for somewhat of a correction anyway. But this really spooked investors, and from Monday till about Friday afternoon, the market just continued to go down, and it dropped by about, as measured by the Dow Jones Industrial Average, dropped by about 13%. Then, in the middle of Friday afternoon, people realized that, you know, maybe this is not going to be such a big epidemic or pandemic. Again, we don't know for sure, but maybe not. And in the meantime, corporations are still profitable, and look how cheap the stock prices have gotten. So beginning on Friday afternoon, the Dow Jones went up from about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon till closing. It increased about 600 points. And then on Monday, they had the largest increase ever, about 1,300 points in the Dow Jones, and things look good. Then yesterday, I don't know whether the Federal Reserve overreacted or reacted too quickly, but all of a sudden they dropped interest rates half a percentage point. They typically go a quarter at a time, and you typically wait until there's a Federal Reserve open market committee to do anything. But for some reason, they dropped the interest rates half a percentage point. Now, normally, that would be good news for the stock market. That should stimulate the economy a little bit. Stocks should go up. But investors said, does the Federal Reserve know something we don't know? So maybe things are worse than we thought, and we had a big sell-off yesterday. Then things happened overnight, and things got to be absorbed a little bit. Today, the stock market is recovering almost all of what it dropped yesterday. So the thing is, we're going to have uncertainty. We don't know for sure how bad this virus will be and how much of the world's economy it will affect. So far in the U.S., the economic impact is not that significant. We have about 108, I think, cases reported. There were 9 people that died, all of them in Washington State. I think 7 or 8 of the 9 are in that nursing home. So these were these were ill people to begin with, and whenever you catch any kind of a flu, they tend to be most at risk. So we still don't know how far this will get. The stock market will fluctuate based on news coming out. People have asked me, well, I'm going to retire soon, my 401k, what do I do? I say to everybody, if I was you, I wouldn't look at the stock market. Just come back in about 30 or 60 days when things have settled a little bit. The market will be pretty close back to where it was before. Probably not quite, but back to where it was before. And hopefully this thing will be somewhat in control, and it won't bring as much fear as it has. Already, to show you how strong our pharmaceutical companies are, already 2 companies, U.S. companies and one in Israel, have said they've come up with a vaccine for this, and I hear another company or 2 is coming up for what could be a cure for this. Now, it'll take some time for these things to hit the market because the Federal Drug Administration, before they allow you to sell any kind of medication, they want to make sure they know what all the side effects are, and will the drug have any interactions with other medications that people may take. This typically takes about a year and a half or so to do. They're going to try to speed this up a little bit and get these things to the market. In the longer term, the lower interest rates, and now they're also talking about perhaps another tax cut geared at the middle class. And to do that, they're looking at reducing the Social Security tax rate. I haven't heard details yet, but one proposal is to lower it from the 6.2% it is now for each employee, and their employer has to pay it too, down to 4.2%. They may do that for a year. That'll tend to stimulate growth. The overall macro, the overall impact of this so far for the U.S. economy has not been that great. However, certain industries are going to get clobbered. The airline industry is already being clobbered. Much of the travel and leisure industry will be clobbered. The cruise ship industry will really get hurt because if you end up going on a cruise and the virus is found there, you get quarantined in your cabin. If you've ever been on a cruise, those cabins tend to be very tight, and being quarantined in there for up to 14 days is certainly something people would like to avoid. So that industry will be hurt. The convention industry may be hurt somewhat as people are starting to call off some conventions. Some sporting events may be hurt as they're starting to say maybe we should not have people come and watch the games. Like the NCAA basketball tournament is coming up, and I don't know what will happen, but there is some talk about maybe they should play to empty stadiums so that there's no worry about spreading the virus. So there will be some negative impacts. Most economists I talk to tell me they projected the first quarter of this year to see economic growth in the 2 to 2.5% range. Most of them have scaled that back to the 1.5 to 2% range. That's about where we are today.
That was an excellent dissertation, and now I've got some questions. One of the first questions I have, Dr. Bustler, is this. I am not trying to minimize the severity of this virus or any virus, but I would say, and please feel free to correct me if you think I'm dead wrong, but we see annually 30 to 60,000 people die in the United States because of the flu virus, and there is not any sort of a media attention to that, and the markets don't seem to fluctuate or run with their hair on fire. So why are we so concerned about this? And I'm, again, not trying to minimize it, but we've only seen 9 deaths so far and 100 cases plus in this country, and it seems like everybody is ready to play Chicken Little.
You know, Zeb, you're absolutely right, and your numbers are very accurate. In fact, for the last 10 years, we've averaged 36,000 deaths a year over the last 10 years from the flu, the regular flu, and hasn't had any impact on financial markets or the economy. That also is accurate. What's happening here, though, is there's fear of the unknown. So people say, yes, we haven't had that many deaths so far, but is this something that's going to be a nationwide epidemic and something that we can't do anything about? And the media seems to be feeding those fears and panic. You know, when last Tuesday or Wednesday, there were a number of articles that said, if this gets bad, the U.S. government is going to round up everybody that has this disease, quarantine them into a big football stadium or something, and have them stay there for the 2 weeks until the quarantine period is up. Well, if people had to do that, that would have a pretty big impact on the economy. The reality is, and we hope this doesn't spread any further than it has, and I agree with you. I don't want to minimize 9 deaths are certainly valuable. Nothing near what we're used to seeing with the flu. But this has been relatively small, and as long as we don't panic and we don't let fear overtake us, the economic impact should remain relatively low. It's always good to use precautions, and most of the medical professionals tell me that as long as you wash your hands frequently and try not to touch your face too often, spreading this disease will be very difficult. One other point is these types of flu viruses do not thrive in warmer weather. You really need cold weather for these things to thrive. In fact, when the outside air hits about 70 degrees, I'm told, I'm not a medical expert, but I'm told once the air hits about 70 degrees, these viruses tend not to be able to survive. That's why the flu season is always in the colder weather. So I would say to Americans, try to go about your business normally. If you want to cut back on some of your travel, I don't think you have to, but if you want to do that, that certainly makes a little bit of sense. Wash your hands, don't touch your face as much, and don't panic. The government is on top of this. Recall, as soon as this happened, President Trump, and he took a lot of flack for this, President Trump said, I'm going to suspend any flights coming in from China because I don't want this to spread. And anybody that has already come in, we're going to quarantine them for 14 days so that we minimize any chance of spreading. President Trump has organized task force. We're increasing the number of testing kits we have. So we're doing as much as we can to minimize this. People are just fearful of the worst case happening, and that's really making things worse than they have to be.
Absolutely. Dr. Bustler, I want to go back, and I've got about 5 minutes left here at the most, and I want to ask you about the Federal Reserve. And I sit here, and I have for years, and questioned and looked at them and wondered about what they do, why they do it, and who is in oversight to make sure they're doing the right thing. I mean, they, to me, seem to have unlimited power and really nobody kind of slapping them in the back of the head and telling them it's wrong. Am I wrong in my assessment?
No, you're absolutely right. The Federal Reserve is what we call a quasi-public agency. They don't have to listen to anybody. So the Federal Reserve has a chairperson, a vice chairperson, rather, and then they have an open market committee. And the Federal Open Market Committee is the one who sets monetary policy. Now, they don't have to listen to the government, either Congress or the president. In reality, what President Trump did, we used to use the term jawboning. Jawboning meant that the president, while he couldn't control what the Federal Reserve did, he said publicly what he thought the Federal Reserve should do, and sometimes that had some influence over them. It worked well this time. As you may recall, and I've talked to the show about this before, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates 8 times from the end of 2016 to the end of 2018 and pretty much choked off the growth we were starting to get in 2018. Last year, they recognized they made a mistake, and they dropped interest rates 3 times. Now, President Trump this year said to them, look, you really should stay ahead of these things instead of having a catastrophe or something bad happen and then react. Rather than do that, he said, why don't you be a little more proactive? And I think that pushed the Federal Reserve to dropping the interest rates yesterday. They almost never, in recent history, dropped them by a full 0.5%. And again, not since 2008 have they dropped interest rates in between one of their meetings. So they're not meeting again for a couple of weeks, and they ended up dropping interest rates now. Personally, I think they overreacted to this, and that's what sent the market in a tailspin yesterday. I think, though, in the longer term, that the lower interest rates will bring down all interest rates, and mortgage rates, which were already relatively low, will drop even further. That should spur the housing market in the spring and maybe turn out to be a pretty good thing.
To use an old phrase to sum up, this too shall pass. And I believe that the coronavirus will be talked about in the future, but the severity of it, we hope and pray, will not be that serious. But the media, right now I want to end this note on the media. The media, I think, has to be much more responsible about how they direct their news on this issue.
Seb, I think you hit the nail right on the head. This will pass. The media needs to be a little more objective and stop the fear-mongering, and this will pass. Let me add one more note. You may recall back in 2009 we had that swine flu.
Mm-hmm.
So swine flu ended up having minimal impact on the economy, and there were 20,000 Americans affected by it, and over 1,000 Americans died from it, and that had a minimal effect. So you're right on to say that the media ought to take it easy and be a little more objective about this and stop fear-mongering.
This gentleman is absolutely one of my favorite guests on this program. He's a public policy analyst, economics expert, and professor of finance at Stockton University. God bless you, Dr. Michael Busler. Please come back in the near future. Thank you so much.
I certainly will. I look forward to it, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That man makes it so understandable about what's going on in the world of economics, and I appreciate him taking the time again to be on my program, Dr. Michael Busler from New Jersey. Wow, we got to have the weather forecast, but before we do, I want to talk to you about Edith's Cafe. Oh, wonderful, wonderful food at Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. And, you know, every week we've been telling you about their specials. Well, I want to remind you that today and tomorrow they've got that prime rib, prime rib French dip sandwich. Oh, this is absolutely heaven. When you sink your grinners into that one, you're going to think, oh my, it doesn't get any better. I'll tell you what, folks, stop by and check that out along with all the different menu choices at Edith's Cafe. Once again, they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9, and they've got daily specials, and what a menu selection. Please stop into Edith's Cafe and enjoy great eating at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. Well, we'd better get to the weather forecast, and the weather forecast brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, check out all the delicious meats for you and your family and special occasions. Number to call, 324-7657. Check out all the pork ribs and the tri-tips and all the bacons and, of course, the sausages and the bratwurst. Oh, I love the bratwurst. You're going to love everything from Scarrow's Meats in Jerome with Don Scarrow and his very efficient staff. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Almost feels like spring. Here's a look at your weather forecast, and we are on a warming trend as we make our way through the rest of the week. Maybe some precipitation for this weekend. We are expecting sunny skies for today, high of 56. It is going to be a little bit breezy. Winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 55 tonight. Mostly clear skies with a low of 31. Winds dying down just a little bit for tomorrow. Sunny skies, high of 60. For Thursday night, mostly clear, low of about 36. For Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 63. By Saturday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers in the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, and a high of 56. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7th.
Gina, thank you very much. And brought to you by Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Like I said yesterday on the program, I've got to invite Don over to be on the program. And maybe I could just kind of hint to him a little bit to bring some more of those delicious bratwurst. I'll tell you what, super good meats, great meats. For all occasions, all families, Scarrow's Meats. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. As I mentioned earlier, tomorrow, Sharon Wilmot is going to run the program for me. I'm going to take care of some business that is long overdue to be taken care of, and so therefore I've got to get it done on Thursday. And she's going to be here for the program tomorrow, and then we'll be back in the saddle again on Monday. But please, she's always had some interesting topics and interesting guests. Sharon will be taking care of the program tomorrow. That leads me up into telling you about the best of tires and, of course, a big spring tire sale going on right now at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, now's the time to really get in the spring mood, to say, hey, yes, sirree, spring right around the corner, and spring and summer driving, vacation time, everything. You be ready and stop in at their spring tire sale going on right now at all 7 locations. And along with that, the very best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. I'm telling you, they really care about your safe driving, and they've got the best for you and the best of service. With Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poleline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, quickly, I've got 1 minute. Go.
Oh, that's fine. Just wanted to say, fine show yesterday and fine show today.
Well, by golly, if I'd have known it was going to be nothing but praise, I'd have given you another 5 minutes.
Well, you've had some real good shows recently, and those 2 ladies did a super job also.
Well, I appreciate that. I know who this caller is, and it's a blessing to hear you call in. Thank you for your kind remarks.
Have a good one.
God bless you. Thank you much. Well, that about's going to do it for us today. I want to remind you that next Monday, I believe that Representative Fred Wood is going to be on our program, the Idaho Legislative Update from Boise, sponsored by Handy Truck Lines, and that's at 10:30 on Monday. So once again, we're going to be talking to Fred Wood, Representative Fred Wood, on our program next Monday at 10:30. We always wrap up the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 words that mean the most to me on this program: in God we trust. We certainly appreciate the fact that you've tuned in, all your calls and comments. And again, a reminder that Sharon Wilmot will be taking the program tomorrow. Call her and treat her the same way you do me, and that's every day great. I appreciate it. Until I'll be back on Monday at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch. Take care, and God bless.